All right, folks. So what I'm doing today is I'm just doing I'm working on the script for the trend line with the volatility filter, and yep, today is Saturday, and I'm still putting that time in. So, huh? It is really messing up, isn't it? Keeps falling. Okay. All right. Anyway, I'm just gonna get to it, and I'm just gonna uh, let the screen run. If you have any questions or anything, put it in the chat. And hopefully we come up with something. Last night I was on and we came up with a start of like a volatility filter. And this morning I played with it a little bit more and I came up with something a little bit more promising. And you see it here. So this is essentially the initial, the bare bones of what I came up with for like a volatility filter. So it's just pretty much saying that when you get down to an area, and it's not even, it has nothing to do with the position of the bar in the market. It's got all to do with the size of the wicks and the size of the candle. So when the size of the candles get smaller and the size of the wicks get larger, this line goes up, right? So this line goes up when the wicks get longer relative to the size of the candle. So it's giving me an idea that there is a potential reversal in play. So see here, it gets high. So that's what I'm working on today. I'm going to work on a trend line. Let's see, there we go. Working on a trend line with the filter of that indecision volatility indicator. So I'm going to get right to it. Put my music on and have at it. Yeah, today is Saturday. We're not supposed to be working on Saturday, but this is not work. Okay, this is not work. This to me is, I mean, you call it fun. It's not like fun, but it's fun to me. I mean, I enjoy this. So let's get to it. Set up here. Okay, all right, so whilst Okay, folks, excuse me. So this is what I've got. So I put together the Trendline script that shows that there is a trend line created from swing high points with a length of 10 bars, right? And so this is on the 5-minute time frame for SPY. So you have a swing high that has 10 bars on either side. Now this is your second point here. You got a swing high of 10 bars on either side. And so, like I said, the indecision volatility indicator that I created here last night, I've got to go and modify it to make it maybe smoother or work nicer. But I mean, it seems to work a little bit. Whereas I'm seeing that when the volatility indicator here is over 140 or so, then it's an indication that there's about to be some type of reversal, excluding after hours, right? Excluding after hours. So that's what I said. I put a filter on the indecision volatility indicator here, just that says that if it's over 40, then we want to consider that as a potential reversal. Not only that, but then the candles have to also be under a trend line. So that's the part that makes it more complicated, is that, like I said, it also has to be under the trend line. Trend line is here. Here we're getting the value of the trend line, and we're saying that the open of the candle has to be under the trend line, and we're also saying that the indecision volatility calculator, the indicator, the value has to be over 140. There we could make I think earlier when I did it over 120, and you see it gives you more entries there. More is not better, but I could definitely modify that more by maybe saying not only does this need to be true and this need to be true, but also we'll say that it's a bearish candle. Okay, and so we lose a few more. And again, we don't really want bullish candles just because we're looking for that move down. So, and I played with this morning, and the problem is, see, like this was a really good entry here. The problem is that I really don't want this one, actually. I mean, it works, but I don't want it. So if you look here, because like when I'm trading intraday trading, now if I was to use this for swing trading, this would be fine. This would probably be fine. But because the scripts and everything that I'm trying to make are for intraday trading, I actually want it to be, I want the trend line to happen intraday. So that's what I was playing with this morning, trying to make sure that this trend line is, that this get value is only getting values from trend lines that have been created the same day. You see this here? You have a starting point here on one day, and then the next day you have the second point. We don't want that. We only want trend lines to be within the same day. So I typically use bar number here, but I'm gonna go ahead and do it. Like I said, this is the part of coding where if you take the extra time and you do the hard work, then it's gonna pay off dividends. I want to use bar number, but I believe that date time, instead of using bar number point, I believe that using date time point will work. So I'm gonna mute this out, and then I'm gonna redo this. Trend L equals trendline dot create, and we're gonna use the DT point, which I haven't used in a week or so, but DT point, we're gonna do date time, and then what is that? Date time and price. So date time. Date time of what? I think it's the date. It'll be the bar date time. Bar date time. And then we use the brackets. And then we'll say of how many bars ago. This will be the length of the swing plus count S, because that's how many bars ago. That'll give us date time, and then for price, we'd do the high. And then close that, and then another DT point for the second point. It would be DT point.create bar date time, how many bars ago, the length of the high, and then we're going to be using the high, and that's going to be of how many bars ago, length ago. And close that, and then close that, and then that. And then also for the high, that has to be the high of how many bars ago, same thing, length plus counts. I haven't used this one in a while, so hopefully it works, but it's a huge difference between using bar number point and date time point. Bar number point references the bar number. So the bar number is a zero base absolute value of the bar number. And so you have to use max bars, you have to add max bars back, you have to subtract one. And so you're looking at the bar number from the entire chart moving forward. Now the bar date time, it doesn't move forward from the beginning of the chart, it actually moves backwards. So I initially started, when I was working on coding, I initially started with date time point, and then I tried to switch to bar number point, and that's why I couldn't figure it out for months and months and months, is because bar number point is completely different than date time point. So let's verify it and see if I missed anything. Boom, got it. All right. So it gives me the exact same trend lines, and it should. But now what I want to do, now with having bar date time, I should be able to draw this if the bar date time, and I don't know how to reference the date for the bar date time. Because I think I have to maybe declare two new variables called date time, and then I will say that the date of the bar date time is the same from this bar to that bar. And so I'm just going to spend a few minutes and try to work through it here, and hopefully we get it. All right, so let's do date time, start time, and date time, end time. And then we're going to say that come down here and say that start time is equal to, because now start time is a date time. Start time is equal to date be equal to can we do bar date time of what is going on here? Woo. Bar date time of length plus counts. Okay, it actually didn't kick it out, so. And now can we do st dot, there we go. All right, st dot day. I think maybe we can do that. let's say, maybe this will work. Okay, but we can go down here and say, if this works, we can go down here and say, we'll say that, no. Yeah. Well, I'm thinking, I mean, we don't want to draw the trend line. We don't want to draw new trend lines if they're not what we want. So we'll say if the swing high is a new swing high that's lower and the count of the swing high is at least 2, and start time dot day is equal to end time dot day, then this might work. Bar date time length. Now the end time is going to be this one over here, which is just going to be the length. Verify. Oh, it worked? I think it worked, but what is this one? Oh. Okay, this is one that I drew because it's not locked, because the ones on here are locked. Very cool. I got it. Very cool. All right. So like I said, I was having a hard time. I spent maybe an hour or two trying to create the logic that would allow me to do the same thing with the bar number point, but I wasn't able to do it. And so I switched over, instead of using the bar number as initial object point for the trend lines, I'm using the date time point. So it worked. All right. And when I say it worked, we'll look at it to make sure, but it's just saying that anytime we're going to create one of these trend lines, it did not work. Because when we create these trend lines, for one, this is the same day, but we need to make sure that we start after 9:30. And this data point should be higher than this data point. It is at least drawing them on the same day though, so that is a step in the right direction. So the trend lines are not, the data points for the trend lines are not crossing days. I don't want them to cross days. So for now, we at least have, well, let's see, what is this? Yep, it's on the same day, right? So this is on the 28th. Both of those points are on the 28th. All right. Okay, so like I said, a step in the right direction. But, so all those are on the same day, except for we have this erroneous one here, which is taking the time from the pre-market. Taking the time from the pre-market, which it should not be doing. All right, so let's go back. And well, I mean, we could qualify. We said here that we wanted to take values after 9:35 and before 15:50. Looking at the swing highs, da. Swing high point. We need to say that the bar date time of, or at least the time, we need to say if the time of this bar, the time of this first bar has to be greater than 9:30. I know that we need that. The time of how many bars ago? Length plus counts has to be greater than 0930. And all right, okay, good. So now we got that, and it's not crossing. Let's go to left to right. Not crossing. Not crossing. Very good. Very good. Okay, so that's pretty much what we want. Yeah, that's good. So all these trend lines are only happening, and they're only happening on the day. The two data points are only within the same day. Now, the only other problem that I have with this is I get these dots here, which I guess now that I've got the bar number, I can say that if the trend line is visible and the time is over 9:35 and the time is less than 15:50, and the current date of the bar is equal to this is the problem, because we need it to be equal to the dates of one of the data points. If I move this within this before I reset the count S. I'll move that in there. I'll just say if the I'm thinking because even after I create, that's only gonna, no, that's not gonna show up. This area here executes only when you've got a lower swing high. So if we want to find multiple of these points here, we would not be able to do it within that function. So we're back outside the function, saying if it's a bear and the open is less. Bear and open is less than trend. Oh, still have to do it. No, if the trend, since I took it back outside of it, I have to say that the trend has to be visible. It has to be a trend showing. Okay, so we need to get rid of these guys. Need to happen on the same day as data point. Now I haven't on the other script that I did. I reset count in at the beginning of the day. Count S. So maybe that will help. Let's try it. If count in is equal to, if at the end of the day the time is greater than or equal to 1600, then count n equals 0. Equals 0. And also for the swing high to change, we also need, if swing high is greater than and time is greater than 0935, then we're going to add to the count n. That should actually help quite a bit too. So time, if time okay, so now count n should only be starting here. You know what? Yeah, we as much as creative as I could possibly be with time and date of these bars relative to a count or something like that, we need to know date of the last time the trend was drawn. So how do we do that? We'll say I'm curious. Argument list expected. We have this script here printing something. It was helping me with the debugging process. I don't see it. Let's do a search. Oh, not there. This is what we're working on. This is swing. Time, got a print there. Again. Oh, then print. Okay, so we get rid of this one. Clear that out. Come back over here. Verify that. And okay, so at no time is the So there are some times where there was no value of trend. There was no value of the trend, and that's why we're getting this error here. So you can't even print something if it doesn't exist. That's the error that it gives you. So it's always going to be a value. We need to print. Oh. thinking we can do something like look for a change, look for a significant change in the trend's value, because that would mean that there is a new trend line. All right. And when we get a significant change, we'll mark that bar number. That bar number will essentially be the start of a new, will help us identify the start of a new trend. So the start of the new trend will have to have the same date as the bar that we're looking for. So we're going to try that. We're going to try if trend.l.getValue is of bar number is greater than, we'll just say greater than 5%, greater than 10%, greater than 10% times trend.l.getValue bar number. And I think we actually have to do the whole 9. Bar number, max bars back, minus 1. That's just saying the bar before it. So if the current value is at least 10 times, it doesn't have to be 10 times greater, it just needs to be 10 times greater or 10 times less. 10 times greater, 10%. Or it is 10 times less than the one for it. Then what? Then value, just say value 7 equals plus equals. No, then we have to do get the date. Then value 7 equals date of what? It's that current date. All right. Okay, and then we need to say if date is equal to value 7, then condition 14 equals true. So we're going to bring this on down. Yeah, I feel like I'm onto something, but we'll see. If condition 14 and that, then verify. Okay, that worked. Didn't give me any errors, but let's see if we got any of those bars. All right, now we have no bars now. We have nothing firing. If condition 14 is true and there is a trend and it's a bear and the open is less than the trend get value of max bars back I think that is the 0 base bar number. Get value. Yeah, absolute bar number. So be sure that's the 0 base, which we would need bar number plus max bars back minus 1. Wait a minute. If the trend of the get value okay, yeah. We need to first say if trend L is not equal to null, then begin. And we'll do this. So if it's not equal to null, and then we can look and see if the value of the bar is greater than 10%. But so in an instance like this, where you don't really have any other trend line right here, there is no value before it. So that actually doesn't work. Maybe it's not that it doesn't work, but it won't work every time. It's not a reliable answer to the problem. Okay, so that is not a reliable answer to the problem. Well, this disappeared, so let's see. Those plots are not helpful at all. Plot below. Those don't even make sense because those are not the lows. That's not a low right there. Even if it wanted to be, let's make this blue and see if it becomes blue. No, it doesn't. So that's plotting something else. Volatility dip 5 minutes. That's what we're on. This is something. Hey, wait a minute. Okay, so we got those. We still have these. Dang it. We still have these. If the trend line, man, something's got to give. If the trend, okay, so, and I put in a request for a little bit of help off of the TradeStation forums. You know, other folks who code and who have coding experience, but I have not seen anybody respond yet to my query. But overall, man, I like this forum. And I don't know if some of these folks, if the senior folks on here are actually paid employees of Easy Language to answer questions, or if they're just like really helpful people. But I imagine they're paid because they answer questions every single day. Try form search again. So value of, let's see, date of trend line objects. See if we can get through this. endpoint is set to a future date. Lines are drawing properly and to extend off the charts. Set endpoint. We don't want to set the endpoint. We want to get the endpoint. You see here, you can set the endpoint, start point. Not getting the endpoint. Yeah. Get endpoint. Problem. Points equal how? TL get active function. Tick change horizontal. Ah. And I can't think of any other way to find the date on the last you know what I can do is the last time that this trend executed, the last time that this function executed, we can identify the time, right? So we'll say value 17, value 18 equals, we'll say it equals the date. Boom. Now we've got what the date is on the last time that the trend line was drawn, which is essentially identifying that second data point. Now we'll say that value 18, which is the date, is equal to date, which is the date of that current bar that's that it's plotting. That should work. Boom. Now I need to go and look to the right and see, do I still have the other ones? Yeah. Family will think I'm crazy for clapping, but that's me. I claps like that. So, all right, we got it. We did it. All right, cool. And that's the thing, man. You know, that's why I love coding, because, I mean, honestly, if you put in the effort, you think about it and you work through it, there's usually an answer. And I know you guys know that when you're on the job, you can put in as much time and effort as you want to and come up with a solution to a complex problem. All you're going to get is the same that you get for everything else you do. But this here, this will really change my coding, and especially I'll take this and make a note of it so I'll know what to do in the future. But now my coding can continue. I'm just adding more value, and I am in control of how valuable I am. Whereas when you're working for somebody, yes, you are valuable, but they determine your value. And I mean, they're literally doing it by how much they pay you, right? So are you more valuable than that? Yes, probably. Sometimes, maybe not. But if you are more valuable, then, they don't have to recognize it. But here, this gets recognized because I get better performing scripts. And I'm just continuing to add to that value. So this was the main thing that I really want to set out to do today, and it's done. So I'm gonna do one more thing. Like I said, this isn't the ultimate script here, but this is a nugget on the overall boulder of it's all right. So even though this is working and everything, I don't want these to show up after 1550. So because as we get into the after hours market or the non-institutional trading hours, then I don't need these to show up. So if the value is date and time is, so for these, the time needs to be less or greater than 0935 and time is less than 1550. And then that'll get those out of the way. All right. So again, we have less things that pop up, but I want to be a sharpshooter instead of a shotgun blaster. Okay, good deal. So now that I know how to do it, now I can go back and I can change my my criteria and everything to identify exactly what I want. So this would have been great for this to fire off, right? And how come this didn't fire off? Because it is between 9:30 and 1550, or 9:35 and 1550. This value of my indecision volatility calculator is higher here. It's higher here. Above 120. It's above 120 here. So let me draw this 120 line. It's there, and then 140 is. Those are just two levels I was looking at. So they cross above it right here, but this is all the way up here. I mean, we technically don't want that. So what about these? These candles here are above the 140 line. So how come they're not firing? We said that because we've got our trend line here, right? This trend line was started on this day, and it was also finished, or the second data point was made on this day as well. And then we had this sell-off. Now we have these bars down here, which should be triggered by my volatility indecision calculator or indicator. So how come they didn't fire based on my plotting criteria? The value 18 days day, time is greater than 935 and less than 1550. Trend L is not null. It's not, because it's on the screen. It's a bearish candle, which those are. And the open is less than the value of the trend, which it is. And the indecision volatility indicator is greater than 140, which it is. Plot the low. So how come that didn't pop up? Now we need to, even though I pretty much got it here, or it was a huge milestone, something I feel like is still not quite right. So let me take this back off. Value 18 equals date. Take that back off. Okay, and it still didn't pop up, so it must be something else. Let's see, is it that I qualified it as a bear? Let me make it a bull. Make it a bull. That didn't change it anything. That's not it. Watch this. If time is greater than 0935 and time is less than 1550, then plot 7 equals low. Everything should come up. Okay, yeah, so everything came up, so that's fine. All right, now we're just going to add in one thing at a time. We got the time condition. Then we're going to say if the trend is not null, which just means that the trend line has been plotted, is visible. Oh, okay, that makes sense, because at this point, so when you're looking at this trend line, you see the whole thing right now. But when you're on this day, you don't see the trend line, 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 and now all of a sudden you see the trend line, right? That right there is telling you that at this point in the day, that trend line showed up. That's because you have to have so many bars, 10 bars on one side and 10 bars on the other side for it to show up. So it starts showing up right there. So that is correct. Those are showing up in the right place. All right, so what's the next thing? We say that's 1550. The trend line is visible. We say that it's a bear. So we'll say and bear. Okay, so we have a few more, and then we say that the open is less than the trend line dot get value of bar number. That's what it is. This bar number should be bar number plus max bars back minus 1. Okay, so I now realize what that is. I'll just go and take this and add max bars back minus 1. Boom. And still didn't show up, so well, let's go back to what we had. We'll keep debugging it. Let's do this, because I think that's the one that I've got some misunderstanding on. I'm pretty sure that get value is the zero base bar number, but yeah, it said absolute bar number. So for some reason, bar number I really hate this bar number and current bar stuff and zero base bars, because it's super confusing. Okay, so the bar number does assign a reference bar to each bar after the max bars back is satisfied. All right, so the question is, what is this one what is get value looking for? Is it looking for the max bars back bar number, or is it looking for the zero base bars number? We know that this should be true, so let's try it two ways. So let's first go with and trend L dot get value of bar number. And all those should still fire. And bar number is less than, it's greater than open. All those should still fire. Okay, so that is based on just the bar number, not zero base bar number, which would be max bars back -1. All right, so, well then our problem is with this, the only thing that's left is the indecision volatility calculator. So that's the only thing left. So we need to make sure that this is the same as what we're looking at here. So the definition, open the function. If we open the function, we see here average value 4 times 5 over 15 bars. And then we're going to open the indicator. Average of value 4 times 5 times 15. That is the same thing. Okay. Well, if that's the same thing, then that should be able to plot when it's over 40. So we're just going to add one more, and oh, how come I didn't notice that? I mean, we're sitting here talking about it. These here are over 140, but these bars here are down here. So we need to put over 120. Okay, so again, wow. Anyway, so I should be able to mute this one out and then make this over 120. All right, good. So we got those two. Very good. Very good. Okay. All right. So now we'll go back and we'll look and see what we have. Shouldn't be very many. Like I said, this script is fairly exclusive. What are you doing there, guy? All right, it's over 120, but it's not under a trend line that was created on this day. Either of these. Oh, we screwed up the max bars back. So that, remember, that just needs to be just the bar number, not max bars back. Okay, so fix that, and it's still not quite right. Wait a minute, what happened with our special thing that we did? Remember where we said value 18 equals date? And all right, that should be it. Okay, let's clap it up. Let's clap it up. Go ahead, throw up some thumbs up and some likes. We got it. We've got it. All right, so now we're gonna zoom this back out and just do the final review from left to right. Oop. Left to right, we have a trend line being created. And under the trend line, we are identifying candles that are over 120 on the volatility indicator. And now that trend line is still going across the screen, but we're crossing into another day. So we're not using that trend line anymore. Now we're trending up. We don't have any pullbacks, so that's that. On this day, we do have a potential pullback, so a trend line is created. However, there are no candles that are over the 120 mark under the trend line after the trend line was created. The trend line is created right here. These here, yes, they're over 120, but they didn't happen after the trend line was created. So all these in here, pretend they don't even exist because you didn't see them under this trend line until the trend line had already been created. Now we're going on to the next day, and no new trend line there. On this day, we did probably have a potential for a trend line to be created, but it wasn't. There were no two swing highs with lower lows that allowed us to create the trend line on this day, even though we did have a volatility indecision calculator showing values over 120. Now we're going into a new day, so we have a potential for a new trend, but we didn't get it. Not for the 10 days, not for the 10 period strength of a trend line. Starting over a new day. Now we do have a trend line being created with 10 bars on either side for a swing high, starting there, ending there. However, after that trend line was created, none of these bars have a indecision volatility index above 120. So no bars fired there. All right, and then going to the next day, it's a trending day up, so no pullbacks with swing highs of 10 bars on either side with consecutive lows. And then we go to the next day. It's a sideways day, so don't expect much here. And then on this following day, at the very end of the day, looks like we do have two swing highs with 10 bars on either side of it. And then we have a trend line. The trend line ultimately would be created around this mark here, 10 periods after the second data point, but the indecision volatility index is not even on the radar. All right, so move on to the next day, and we don't have a descending trend line there based on 10 bars, and we keep coming over. So it's just the same old story over and over until we get to this day. We do have another trend line being created there. However, again, this index here is over 120. So you say, all right, was a potential for reversal. And it ultimately does, right? It does reverse. But at what point do you enter? Because here it crosses over 120, crosses over 140, flattens out here. Might be a good opportunity to try to get in there. Just based on the indecision volatility calculator, the index that I made, because you have a nice little move up there. But we did not have a trend line created until we got that second data point there. So that trend line wouldn't show up to here. I've seen that these trend lines work very well when you take the break of them though. So once this trend line was created here, and then you're just kind of waiting and watching, you know that this is a good potential low based on the fact that you had this leveling out of your indecision volatility index and you had a swing low here. You can use this as your risk, take that break, and then take it for the way up. So that was very good. And then on the following day, trend line created here, but it doesn't show up until you get to about here, right? So, but then you have no values over 120, 140 for the indecision volatility index. And what does it do? It just continues on down the drain. You do get a potential spike here, but the index that I made was not created for after hours. So don't know what to tell you. Take it, don't take it, I don't know. All right, and then on the next day, this was the last trading day. I mean, isn't that great? That looks good. If you had took that would have been great. but you get them a little stretched out here. The distance from this swing low to the trend line is a pretty decent sized distance. The trend line started here. You got the second data point here, but it wouldn't show up until about this point. That being said, now you do have values on the indecision volatility index above 120, 140 here. Not to mention that is also in the range of your general consider it a double bottom if you want to of here. So that would look promising. Take it, scale out at the trend line, or take it at the trend line. But like I said, that's a long distance there. So yeah. So man, after only 5 hours of working on it today and about 3 hours working on it yesterday, I got what I'm looking for. All right, so hope you guys enjoy some of this, and you'll join me when we start like really coming on the lives during the trading day, and find the great entries. All right, yeah. So when I do some of these lives during the trading day, you're going to want to be here. So you're going to want to subscribe so you get the notifications that we're going live. We're putting some of these algorithms to the test. All right, guys. I am Eric. I'm out. Peace.